This illustration deals with floor area, NEC 220.11. The purpose of the change is to provide a new section which has been added to address the floor area for each floor is required to calculate based upon the outside dimensions of the building, dwelling unit, or other area involved. Unit loads for dwelling units were relocated from 220.12 and Table 220.12 to 220.11. As a result, the floor area determination needs to address both 220.12 and Table 220.12 for commercial. For non-dwelling unit type occupancies, and naturally 220.14J is where we would find the 3 VA per square foot for dwelling units. This new section will not allow 220.12 to be used for dwelling units, but 220.14J to reference and select the 3 VA per square foot, which is independent section, to clarify what would be used. Now, for listed occupancies, you would go to Table 220.12, and you would go to 220.14J now for dwelling units. If you have an occupancy such as a welding shop, see, that's not listed in the table, then you would go to 220.14A through 220.14L, and you would pick up the individual calculation procedures there to determine what the service load would be, feeder, and so forth. So it's very important that we keep this in mind. You have listed occupancies and unlisted occupancies when you're doing calculations. So let's look at the what I call the first rule. Determine what type of facility that you have. So this particular rule is dealing with dwelling units. So we would look at the facility to the right, and we have a 2,700 square foot dwelling unit. We'd go next to 220.14J with the arrow pointing at the top of the dwelling unit and pick up the 3 VA per square foot. So 3 VA per square foot times 2,700 square foot would give you the general lighting load. Then you would pick up the small appliance circuits, and then you would pick up the direct circuits. Now notice appliance loads is listed at the very bottom there, and we refer you to 220.53 for appliance loads. We would also, for non-coincidental loads, we'd go to 220.60. Now, the main thing we're pointing out here for floor area requirements and so forth, you go to 220.11, but the 3 VA per square foot would be selected from 220.14J, and that would include all your lighting loads, all your receptacle loads, except the small appliance circuits and your direct circuits. So inspectors usually are going to attack the dwelling unit by looking at the 3 VA per square foot and what is covered there, pick up the 2 small appliance circuits and what they would cover, such as your kitchen, pantry, dining room, and breakfast room, and then they would pick up the direct circuits. And that's how they usually would attack to see if we have the appropriate amount of circuitry provided in a dwelling unit. Now the unit to the left, notice that's commercial. And so when we look at the right above the commercial building, we see it basically says also C220.12, but I'd also look at Table 220.12 because that's where you get your VA per square foot. And that table has been completely revised, Table 220.12. The VA ratings, they've all changed practically, so you want to look at that table very carefully because now it's getting in more line with the Energy Code 90.1, that standard. So we would get the square foot area of the facility, find out what kind of facility it is, store, office building, whatever it may be, get the VA per square foot rating, do our math, and then we would come up with the load for the service, maybe a load for feeder, depending what we were looking at. So we calculate per dimensions that are listed in 220.11. That gives you your floor areas that you would have to consider. And then notice with the to the right at the bottom, it says the floor area or other area involved. See 220.11 to determine what you have to include in the floor area. And then go to your table 220.12 in section 220.12 to pick up your VA rating. And then I would remind you to, for a non-dwelling unit, review very carefully 220.12 as well as your table 220.12. And for dwelling units, review very carefully in the note 220.14J, because all that has changed, and you that calculate these loads, because the city, the county, state, government, whatever type of project you're doing, may require these sections to be included. So you won't look at that table, or you may lose a job figuring it the old table way and not the new table with the revisions that have been made there.